Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda Dittlinger and I am a neurodivergent woman. I have aphantasia, which is the inability to visualize in my mind's eye. I have a rare memory disorder called SDAM, and I am on the path of adult diagnosis for autism, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So today I'm sitting outside on my porch. It's probably one of the last nice days we're going to have. I live in the Pacific Northwest of the US, and honestly also I'm running my smart vacuum in my house, and it's very loud out in there, and hopefully it is quieter out here today. So autism. I'm assuming you clicked on this video because you are also working towards getting diagnosed or trying to decide if you are on the autism spectrum. So in case you're new here, the way that I came across realizing that I am autistic is by getting my teens diagnosed. So they had some severe anxiety, and the more we kind of explored their anxiety and looking into symptoms, it led to, they also display these different autistic characteristics, and I went ahead and got them an official diagnosis because they're school age, so that way they could get accommodations at school, which ended up not quite working, but that's a video for a whole nother day. We are currently in the process of enrolling them in an online school. But if you're an adult and you're trying to decide, hold on, Watson, my pug, is going to try to bark. Watson, it's okay. We're just chilling outside. If you're an adult and you are trying to find out if you are on the spectrum, don't be alarmed, because we are finding more and more and more adults that just were not diagnosed. The diagnosis criteria was heavily biased and skewed to white, young, rich, or wealthy males. The research led to that, and other people were only getting ADHD diagnoses or bipolar or something personality disorder. Forgot what that one was. They were getting different diagnoses when autism really is the correct diagnosis. And there's a lot of overlap between ADHD and autism, and some states would only allow clinicians to diagnose one or the other. So depending on which traits you had more of is what you would get diagnosed with, when in fact you can have both. And I actually suspect that I probably will be getting a formal diagnosis of both autism and ADHD. But so right now I am operating under the assumption of autism. I am self-diagnosed, but for my own comfort, I am also going through the path of getting a official diagnosis, and my feedback session is coming up on this Monday. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I will be vlogging about it. So here's some things. Okay, so self-diagnosis. It is so valid in the autism community, and I absolutely love that, because unfortunately there's still a lot of misinformation about autism. There are doctors out there who still don't even understand what all these symptoms and traits are of autism. Some areas of the country just do not have psychologists that will diagnose adults. And if they do, a lot of insurances don't cover it, or if the insurance covers it, it may only be partially. So my insurance does cover my diagnosis, but only partially. So it is expensive, but it is within my means. And one of the reasons why I am pursuing a formal diagnosis is because I want to be part of the conversation about females with autism, and I want my data cataloged so that maybe future kids and teens and adults can also realize that they are in fact autistic. So I have grown up, definitely the high functioning and low functioning terminology is now not used in the community. What is used more typically would be high needs versus low needs. So I would be an autistic person with low accommodation needs, but that does not mean that I don't need accommodations or that having an autism diagnosis wouldn't help me. So as an adult, because there's no cure, not that I want a cure or need a cure, acceptance is actually the best cure. Just accepting that different brains work differently. That's all we need for, most people with autism. So for me, a diagnosis helps me realize that, hey, my brain might work differently than you, and I'm going to ask for things in a little bit different way. One of the things that my brain craves is all the information. I hate doing new things unless I understand completely what is going on. And sometimes when I've tried to communicate that in the past, it does not come across, or people are like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, I am worried about it. Like, I need this information. And it's one reason why I am getting a formal diagnosis. It's kind of a paradox, because the fact that I feel like I need a formal diagnosis is kind of an autistic trait, because I operate under facts and I don't like any kind of lies or untruths. Now, it is a common trait for autistic people to be very, very truthful people. That does not mean we cannot lie. I just am very uncomfortable with lying. And there are autistic people who have learned to lie quite efficiently as a survival mechanism of masking. So what is masking? Masking is all the things that these undiagnosed autistic people, such as myself, have done over the years to be normal and to integrate into a neurotypical society. So it's all the times where we really, really work at mimicking and trying to fit in, even when under the surface our brains might be spinning and trying to like we don't understand, but we're trying our best. So, okay, pause. I gather my thoughts here. This is why I think I might have the ADHD. One of the reasons. I do tend to go into lots of tangents, and you know what? That's just how my brain works, and that's the thing. That's what I'm working on learning to accept about myself, and just take a deep breath, realize that I've gone on a tangent, try to pull back and get back to the main topic. So what I'm trying to talk about is self-diagnosis versus a formal diagnosis. So if you are here because you feel like you are self-diagnosed with autism, that is okay. It is so perfectly awesome. You do not need a formal diagnosis to be welcomed into the autistic community. Now, if you need it for accommodations, then, or like if you're having, ADA, American with Disabilities Act, and you need to be able to have that autistic diagnosis for a reason because of workplace discrimination or things like that, that is a separate kind of issue. But to just be in the autistic community, get support from other autistic people, to find a therapist that may specialize in autistic people, you don't need a formal diagnosis for any of that kind of stuff. My neighbors are out. So I am pursuing a formal diagnosis, but at the end of the day, does it do anything for me other than give me that sense of security that, okay, yes, all of the work that I have put in for self-diagnosis is valid, and then this diagnosis is going to match up with that. Now, of course, there is that little tiny imposter syndrome thing going off in my brain that says, what if I go in on a Monday and he says I'm not autistic? That's super, super natural too, and it happens to a lot of people in the community. It's one reason why I'm making this video, because it's so common. We are all feeling it, and that's okay. And you know what? If for some reason he says I'm not autistic, we're going to have a conversation and we'll figure it out and figure out why he thinks I'm not when I have a list of 80 traits that says I think I am. And, you know, we'll give a video about that and we'll figure it out from there. So, but at this point, I'm confident that I am autistic. I'm a little less sure about the ADHD, but the more I'm looking into that one, because I was mostly just studying autism traits first, and then I stumbled into the ADHD world because, again, there's so much overlap. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm ADHD too. But, you know, I'm just here to kind of, the more voices that are added to this conversation, the more people we can educate about, there's a plane. I don't know if that, my phone is picking that plane sound up, but anyway, the more people that we can educate about autism, the more people that will recognize it in themselves. I really think there's a lot more neurodivergent people out there masking than we even know is possible, because I've made it 42 years without realizing that I was autistic, because I didn't know what traits to look for, because what is sensationalized in the media is one presentation of autism. And if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. We don't all present the same way. I hope that this video has kind of helped you understand self-diagnosis versus a formal diagnosis, and make you kind of feel better about if you decide to not go towards a formal diagnosis, or if you do still want to go to a formal diagnosis. Comment down below, let me know where you are in your path, or if you've already been formally diagnosed. What age were you when you found out that you were autistic, if you're a late diagnosed autistic person? And make sure that you subscribe and help me grow my channel so that I can get this kind of, add my voice out there to the many other people who are contributing to this amazing conversation, because neurodivergent is just one way to be human. It's not lesser than, it's just different, and it's beautiful. Until the next video, bye guys.